On this week's episode, what will James Gunn do for the DC Universe? Marvel's smart moves to solidify its future. And can Fallout 76 be the multiplayer adventure everyone has been hoping for? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We want to thank you so much for listening to all of our programs. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is the Emperor of Humanica Media. You got to check out everything that's going on today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and so much more. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man? Another great pop culture weekend is almost in our laps.
Are we talking Emperor like the Emperor's New Groove or the one from Star Wars?
You know what? I heard rumors that Palpatine might be coming back, so you never know, my friend. You never know.
You really don't. You don't. And I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing. We don't. I don't think the world really wanted more Palpatine, but we'll see what happens.
Palpatine, maybe it'll be his brother Ovaltine. Who knows? You never know. All sounds good in the end.
The evil one with the bad cough, Nicotine.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely. The triplets. Anyways, it is going to be a great episode we've got for you today. We've got standing by in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire. It is Rob McCallum. He's going to be talking about a lot of great pop culture subjects. Plus, also as well, we got a preview of Week 6 in the NFL with my good friend Tyler Baker of the Fantasy Football Patriot podcast. You can always check out episodes of both their shows, full episodes of both their shows, the Cosmic Crossfire and the Fantasy Football Patriot podcast on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel right here on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many other various outlets. We also are going to be able to talk later in the program about Fallout 76. We got a big time look at what's going on with the game, the development of it just before the beta hits, because a lot of media outlets got to be able to have the opportunity to show its wares, and we're going to share our thoughts on the upcoming multiplayer adventure, and is it everything that we've hoped for when it comes to a Bethesda game as far as a Bethesda multiplayer experience. We're going to share our thoughts on that to see if it's just the right thing we have in mind for Fallout. But first, my friend, a lot of stuff going on in where else? Hollywood when it comes to superhero movies, and the future is actually starting to get laid down. The foundation is getting set as far as after what's going on with Infinity War Part 2 or whatever it's going to be called. And then also in the DC universe, where the major announcement that was made was that James Gunn, who was formerly the director of the Guardians of the Galaxy series that we all know and most of us love so well in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's going to be the second director. Remember, Joss Whedon of the Avengers was first. He's going to be jumping over from the Marvel Cinematic Universe over to the DC movie universe, and now has been named the writer and director of the upcoming Suicide Squad 2. I know a lot of people are very interested and excited about that. I know Dave Bautista, who plays Drax in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I know he's excited to see if he can get the opportunity to become a part of the Suicide Squad team. So I ask you, Josh, What does this big news mean to you as far as not only for the DC movie universe and all the great fans and support that they have, not only Suicide Squad, but most importantly for the psyche and actually the confidence of James Gunn now that he's back making movies once again?
It's actually a pretty good publicity move on Warner Brothers' part because you think about it, like what a better way to slap, Disney and Marvel in the face than to bring on James Gunn. Yeah, exactly. Bring James Gunn on to, and it's actually kind of the perfect property for him too, because the Suicide Squad, it's not like a joke by any means, but they are kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy in a way, like street level of the DC universe. So a pretty smart move, and I think it's a property that James Gunn can really thrive on because he excels at writing witty dialogue, and that's what Suicide Squad was honestly lacking in the first one, and that's what we the fans wanna see, that's what they're known for in the comic books, just, being violent smart Alex. So, no, it's a good move on their part, and for Gunn especially because not only is this, like, Warner Brothers showing, Disney, "Hey, we can do this," and, we this is our chance to kinda get back in the game. It's also James Gunn going, "All right, Disney," and, just giving him the finger, This is I don't think that he's gonna have stage fright of any kind. It's just gonna be him proving them like, "Hey, you made a mistake by firing me." And I honestly like, I'm expecting big things from this movie now.
Well, also, I am as well. And the director of the original Suicide Squad movie, he actually gave his blessing and his thumbs up to everyone out there on Twitter to show his approval for James Gunn coming over to the DC movie universe and now is the director of Suicide Squad 2. Let's put things in perspective. This is actually not this is actually probably one of the best things that James Gunn could have hoped for. Not only is he landing into something that has very low expectations, but something that could have a potentially high return because you got to remember, even though it was lambasted by critics, people were just polarized everywhere when it came to, in fact, we were noticed it and we actually reported on it when it comes to the word of mouth, which was just all over the place on how bad and how good or how bad or how just all over the place when it comes to the word of mouth that was spread on Suicide Squad, and the critics just lambasted it. I know I thought it was just absolutely horrid, but be that as it may, it still made just under $750 million and is one of the leading DC movies of all time at the box office. So
And it
we
did
can
get
say,
nominated. They get nominated for an award too.
oh yeah, exactly. It also got nominated for some Razzies, but we won't go there. So I will say this: it was actually, like I said, the best thing that James Gunn could have hoped for because not only does he land in with a movie that has very low expectations, but could yield a potentially very high, even $1 billion return. Because if it does have any type of good word of mouth, any type of consistent good reviews across the board, if he brings any of that Guardians of the Galaxy magic over to the Suicide Squad 2, I'm going to tell you what, this baby's going to hit the heights that a DC movie may have never reached before.
Honestly, though, his style of writing seems like it fits better in the DC universe anyways because it's kinda dark, and at the same time, it's even in Guardians of the Galaxy, he pushed the envelope on things that you wouldn't think they'd be able to get away with in a Disney or, Marvel, Disney, whatever. So I think that his writing style is gonna be right at home in the Warner Brothers universe, and especially since you have characters like Aquaman and Shazam who are both showing these, action-packed but still in-depth and lighter side of the DC universe. I think that James Gunn is a welcome addition to the family, and he's gonna do great things for them, and that might actually be the movie that turns things around, assuming Aquaman doesn't do it.
I think Aquaman will. I think I'm really high on Aquaman. I saw that extended trailer over the weekend at the New York Comic Con, and I am really excited for Aquaman. Shazam, I know a lot of people were actually even more excited for that than Aquaman, you and I were probably not as excited for it, but we still got hopes for it. And I think ultimately it will probably work out in its favor. But definitely with the added name brand that is James Gunn and what he brings over after all the controversy and all that stuff aside, I think it's a great move by Warner Brothers and DC to bring him in on this. And not only now, and now that you have him working on Suicide Squad 2, you've got the Joker prequel that's now being filmed with Joaquin Phoenix. You also have, like we talked about before, just now we talked about all the movies that are coming out in regards to Shazam, Aquaman, and Wonder Woman 84. We haven't even talked about that. The sequel to the most well thought of movie right now in the DC universe. Right now, things are looking a little bit up for a franchise that really a lot of people, including us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, have been down on for quite some time.
Wait, what are we talking? Are we talking about Wonder Woman or Aquaman?
Well, no, I'm just saying this is all helping out the DC universe, which is really we've been it's been a punching bag for us for quite a while.
Oh yeah, for sure. Honestly, I'm not too excited about the Joker movie. I don't think that they needed to do that, but yeah.
Oh, what about Birds of Prey also as well coming out with Margot Robbie and Jared Leto?
Yeah, no, I wanted to see Jared Leto get another stab at the Joker. I thought that he didn't really get his just justice, I guess, on the screen during the first Suicide Squad. So this will be a good opportunity for him to get back into it.
Pardon the pun there with the justice thing.
I know, I was trying to think of another way to phrase it, but it wasn't happening. Yeah, I mean, I again though, like I think that before they branch out into all these other properties, they need to learn to do like their big five justice. I get, yeah, there's a pun again. Because they haven't made a Batman movie. They haven't even made a Batman movie. Like, and they haven't like given Superman his time on the screen, his time to shine. They can't, we don't even know what's happening with Henry Cavill right now. So I don't know.
Or Ben Affleck, because he just got out of rehab, but we don't know the status of his character long term, of him playing the Batman character long term.
Yeah, exactly. So and those are their big two. Like, they need to treat those properties right, do something with those properties, and then go into these other ones. They've already established Suicide Squad, so like that's a good idea to have James Gunn do that. But they really just need to go back and focus on their core team before they start branching off on like Birds of Prey and Batgirl or whatever else is coming next. What's the one with the Rock he's playing? Shoot, not Black Adam, was it?
Yeah, I think it's Black Adam.
Yeah. So I don't know, dude. I'm on the fence about the whole DC thing. I think they're taking steps in the right direction, but it's going to be a while before they kind of pull themselves out of the swamp.
But it was, I think, a very classy move that, like I said before, that David Ayer, the director of Suicide Squad, much maligned Suicide Squad, gave the thumbs up to what we were talking about when it comes to James Gunn being now a part of the DC movie universe.
Right, and I'm anxious to see what if there's going to be any backlash from people saying I'm going to boycott the movie or whatever over the whole James Gunn thing. It's going to be interesting to say the least, but I haven't seen any negative publicity for it so far, so who knows? Maybe that's because Fox News hasn't gotten a hold of it yet, but we'll see.
Yes, but right now it looks a lot better for me than this time last year for the Warner Brothers and DC conglomerate for the DC movie universe. I think things are going in the right direction. Is all the pieces there? Not yet. Like we talked about, they still have to solidify the future going forward for Batman and Superman. All these other side stories, maybe I agree with you. All these other side stories, they shouldn't be working on, but they're already in the can or already working on it right now, so it's too late for that. So you might as well just try to make them as best as you can. But going forward, it looks a little bit better for the DC movie universe, and it all starts off with James Gunn now being part of it by writing and directing Suicide Squad 2. What are your thoughts out there on James Gunn heading to the DC movie universe? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you still sad that he's not a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy at any point in time any longer? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram as well. Josh, Marvel, never to be outdone by what DC is doing, they did their own thing as far as solidifying a couple of movies in the future for them as part of their next phase going forward, especially with the chaos going on with what we talked about earlier with James Gunn leaving Guardians in the Galaxy 3, being bumped off, being moved, I believe, at least a year from when it was originally going to be airing and being shown in theaters. We've got news this week that not only one, but two major pieces going forward for the Marvel Cinematic Universe were actually signed, agreed upon, and got deals. Very, I think, good, very astute deals by Marvel in order for them to get them into these projects. One, the first one I want to talk about is Black Widow. She got signed for reported, well, what's being bandied about as a $15 million payday coming up for the Black Widow movie. Obviously, Disney is not commenting whether or not that's the case, but since that's the number being tossed around, we're just going to go ahead and run with that, which is very comparable and I believe equal to both what Chris Hemsworth has made and Chris Evans has made on previous movies themselves. Your thoughts on solidifying Black Widow's character and finally giving her the payday I think she deserves as far as what's going forward, since this movie is all going to be about her development and her character known as the Black Widow.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I'm glad she's getting paid a lot and all that, but I still, we discussed this. Like I think it was what, couple years ago. We were talking about the Black Widow toys or whatever. But yeah, no, I think it's cool. She's getting her own movie, but what's it going to be about is my big question. Because I mean, an origin story, they kind of covered that in Avengers: Age of Ultron. She's always kind of existed in ensembles, though, even in the not just in the movies, but in the comic books. Like you don't really see her in solo things. You see her with Tony Stark, with the Secret Avengers, with Nicholas Fury in some fashion, or she's sneaking in on Zoloft or something like that. But she's never really had her own solo adventure. So I'm curious, like what's going to be, because it's kind of Marvel's opportunity to make something completely original in their cinematic universe. So I think there's a big opportunity for them.
Plus, also, it's a big opportunity for her because outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, similar to what Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, and others have gone through, including Robert Downey Jr. to an extent when he's not playing Sherlock Holmes, they've all had their struggles from time to time in the time period during the MCU as far as being on their own, doing their own movies. Ghost in the Shell is probably one of the most glaring weaknesses for her when that came out. She's had just a couple hits, but most of them have been misses for her outside of her Black Widow performance so far in the past 10 years of the MCU.
Yeah, it'll be her sorry, it'll be her time to shine for sure, but again, what's the movie gonna be about? And it's kind of a spoiler alert too, don't you think, that they're basically saying that she's not the one that's going to be dying in Infinity War Part 2?
Well, at this point, I've given up on that, man, because you've got Spider-Man. Tom Holland's already, boasted pictures and boasted about, doing his own movie already, which is supposed to be taking place after the events, I believe, of what's coming up in Avengers: Infinity War. So that's a killer. So you already know that spoiler. They've already talked about at Disney. They've already talked about Black Panther 2, which we will be talking about here in a sec. We've already spoken about how that's a necessity going forward. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 before that whole fiasco blew up. That is still on target. That's still planned to be made. That is still very much planned to be made at some point by a different director, different writer to resolve that trilogy arc of that successful group. So there are individuals already there. And we've already discussed this before as well, where I don't like it at all. Any of these movies being thought of and being told and being communicated out there that they're already going to be made or are in production at some point. Can't there be any type of secrets that should have been held? I mean, we pretty much already have counted on like 2 or 3 individuals that are going to die and already several that are going to live that are currently dust in the wind like a Kansas song right now. So it just kind of takes the fun out of it. There's only a few characters left, like a Vision, like a there not even like a Scarlet Witch, because we already know she's going to be doing a TV show. Even as far as Loki's been talked about doing a TV show for the streaming service as well. So there's really not much suspense when it comes to who lives and who dies at this point in time in the next Avengers Infinity War.
Right, right. Too, but you also have to remember that Marvel films are huge. So anytime one gets spot filming something, people are going to know about it. And especially like in this age of relevance on social media, you have people on the crew who are going to leak something. It's not just a matter of will they, it's an inevitability. So it's a matter of when's this going to happen. They want the money. Yep, that's right. They want to break the story. They want their YouTube or Facebook or Instagram page to have all the clicks and the likes and the hashtags and all that stuff. So it's kind of you can't help that kind of thing these days. And I just hope that as for the Scarlet Witch movie, I hope it's good. I hope it's gritty.
What do you mean, the Scarlet Witch TV series that's coming
Not
to
Scarlet
Disney
Witch.
streaming service?
Shoot, Black Widow. Man, I'm so sorry. As far as the Black Widow movie, I hope it's like because she's a very gritty character, gritty and violent. Like you look at her background, like she's from Soviet Russia. So I hope that they don't like jokeify it. Like if they really want to make, this their first foray into, a fully female. I guess I don't know. Captain Marvel maybe will count as that, but like a gritty female espionage film, kind of in the vein of Winter Soldier. Like they need to do it properly and give her her time to shine, and it's gonna be dark and it might even be violent, but don't like Disneyfy it, don't make it all jokey like they have. Like make some jokes, yeah, but make it cool though. Make it something that people will take seriously, and maybe that'll set the standard going forward for more female driven superhero movies.
That's going to be your T-shirt for our next show, for our next taping of our next show. Don't Disneyfy it.
I just copyrighted that. TM. That's how you do that.
There you go. But also, as well, that was noted and very much appreciated because it was an outstanding movie as well. The sequel to Black Panther 2, which again we know is on the way. Kevin Feige and officials at Disney have already said that it's already on the way. It's already going to be in production. Yada yada yada. Spoiler, all that type of stuff. Ryan Coogler, who did an outstanding job with Black Panther, as I guess in the non-shocker of all non-shockers, has been retained as the writer and director for Black Panther 2. I'm expecting some great things again from Black Panther, but I want to ask you, Josh, when it comes to Black Panther 2, where do you think they can go from there to continue the outstanding success that the original brought just a few months ago?
Black Panther 2, Return to Wakanda. No, I hope they don't do Wakanda again. I wanted them to go somewhere else. Honestly, I don't know. I wish I knew more about Black Panther. I wish I had read more when I was a kid. This is gonna make me sound really racist, but I just was not a hero I was into. And it's not because I'm racist, just because I didn't have any access to those comic books. So, um, anyways, I'm just making that worse. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yes, you are, and I'm going to fix that in post.
uh, my favorite Black Panther comic arc was in Ultimate Avengers, where they go to Wakanda and they're fighting it was a made up space alien species. It wasn't the Kree or the Skrull. It was something else. But they put the Ultimate Avengers together, and they went to Wakanda, teamed up with Black Panther to take down this alien species that was trying to take all the adamantium in the comic books is adamantium out of Wakanda. And that was really what kind of got me my first glimpse at the world of Black Panther. And since then, I haven't really done a lot of research or reading into that comic book. I would like to, so I might do that in the future. But as far as where they're going to go from there, like they did the origin story, they did the origin story really well, and you know, their cityscape, the city scenes where they're in South Korea, like that was really cool. So that was South Korea, right? Where they were in the wherever they chasing Claw. Yeah, that was really cool. So if they have more set pieces like that, I would hope that it would be you know, something on a larger scale. It show us Wakanda, but show us something else, show us something new. Because they have the what I want to say, they have the ability to do that because they're a property right now where like it can only go up. So I hope that they raise the stakes this time.
I hope that they will as well. And I think it is going to be I think just with Ryan Coogler again behind the camera, also being responsible for the writing of the film, I think he's going to get a tremendous buy-in from whoever is going to be a part of the second movie in the Black Panther series. And if it goes anywhere near the success level of the first Black Panther, I expect a trilogy at least to be going forward at some point in time to finish that story arc of Black Panther. And I tell you what, it's just a great sign that they were smart enough to, like I said, just go ahead and target who they need to target and make sure they've got great foundation pieces. And signing up Scarlett Johansson, giving her a very paycheck that's equal to what Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans have been both paid for their solo movies, and also I think I think Captain Avenger, for their movies, Captain Avenger, Civil War, and also the last Thor Ragnarok. I think both the pay is equal to what she is getting now. So that to me is a great sign. Plus, also as well, you've got Ryan Coogler, who is also signed up to do Black Panther 2. And I think that's just some smart moves to retain both those individuals so you can get that next phase going. Because, yes, there's going to be a lot of new faces in this next phase, but it's also helpful to have some of the faces that got you there, some of the individuals that got you there, some of the individuals, some of the people that were responsible for the success of the previous phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And definitely Ryan Coogler and Scarlett Johansson both were big, key, integral pieces of that previous arc. And I'm just so grateful that they're going to get their chance to be a part of it once again in the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are your thoughts out there on Ryan Coogler and Scarlett Johansson officially becoming part of the MCU going forward after the events of next year's Avengers Infinity War Part 2? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Before we head to the break and before we head to Rob McCallum in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire, gotta tell you and gotta let you know, and I apologize in advance, the next few shows we are going to be reminding you of this, but the Discover Pod Award nominations, the ballots are now out. We would truly appreciate any help in this matter. We've got the links set up already on our Facebook pages for Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I'm trying to get Josh to go ahead and pin it up on Humanica Media as well. It is the link to get you to go ahead. Hopefully, if you do, we truly appreciate it. Nominate the Pop Culture Cosmos and the PCC Multiverse. Just put it Pop Culture Cosmos /PCC Multiverse, or even if you just put Pop Culture Cosmos, that's just great by us. As far as the best podcast and the best society and culture podcast of 2018.
And true crime.
Not true crime. No, we're not into true crime. But you can do entertainment as well. If that one, that's fine. That's legit. Okay, I can't really see
crime if you didn't nominate us.
Well, there you go. It is. There you go. There you go. True crime if you didn't nominate us. Okay, I agree with you on that part. But please, if you get a chance, please go to the link that's available on our Facebook pages at Pop Culture Cosmos in Game Source. Check it out. Please help us out today. We truly appreciate it. We were nominated last year for Discover Pod Award. It was truly humbling, and we truly cannot thank you enough to all the listeners for not only listening to our show, but helping us out in hopefully becoming a Discover Pod Award nominee again. Coming right back with Rob McCallum in the middle of the Cosmic Crossfire. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with the PCC Multiverse once again to close out the show. Thank you so much to Rob McCallum and Tyler Baker for being part of the broadcast. Got to catch their full episodes, the Cosmic Crossfire and the Fantasy Football Patriot podcast. They're available today on the Pop Culture Cosmos channel on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and over 30 different podcast outlets. You can also check out our shows worldwide 7 days a week, and we've got an entire listing of that right smack dab on the Facebook page, Game Source, and of course, Pop Culture Cosmos. Josh, I know you got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so man, share us the info, bud. What's going on with Humanica Media?
I'll tell you, Gerald.
Oh my gosh, that was an evil laugh.
No, it was just Topicocalypse. I posted a new episode yesterday. It's called Adulting. Basically, Brian Kane wanted to know why we can't adult right and what is adulting. What does adult life look like in 2018?
You don't want to know.
While deep diving into the subject, we realized that none of us are really qualified to be making that decision or giving people advice on how to do that. So it's a very good episode. You should check it out. It's up there on Podbean, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. And also we're on the Podcast Radio Network. Tell them when, Gerald.
Always laying the pressure on me. You can find the Topicocalypse show on the Podcast Radio Network every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Before we head on to also talk about the stuff going on with Bethesda and Fallout 76, I just want to mention that we are also trying to work on something that is going to be a special event in the Las Vegas area, but that hopefully so many people around the world can also be a part of as well. A charity event to benefit those in need. We're starting to put the foundational pieces together for it. It's just getting started. It's in its infancy, but hopefully we can give you more information as the weeks come by. And we're looking to do something in December really special that hopefully will greatly benefit a lot of others. And that's just something we were just hoping to do, in the month of December, right here from your friends with Pop Culture Cosmos, Mario Party Wars, and of course, our great friends at Retro City Games. And hopefully a lot more as well. We're still getting a lot of more confirmations. We're still getting a lot of people signed up, so we're looking forward to doing that as well. All right, my friend, last but not least, before we head on out, Fallout 76 got a lot of coverage this week. I guess the moratorium on coverage for these media outlets that got lifted, the embargoes and all that, so they could show video of certain amount of gameplay, a certain amount of time. I've seen as much as, I think, 50 minutes, close to an hour of gameplay footage here and there. Fallout 76, if you haven't heard, is in the Fallout format, in the Fallout world, the universe and whatnot, but the catch is it is a multiplayer-centric game. Yes, you can play it by yourself, but it is meant to be something more of a multiplayer experience with, I believe, up to 4 people, if I'm not mistaken. You've gotten a chance to take a look at it, my friend. What are your thoughts about Bethesda's new entry into the multiplayer platform known as Fallout 76?
Well, first of all, I'm developing a new appreciation for color in video games. So, I'm playing Forza Horizon 4 right now, and the colors are truly remarkable in that game. But when I was watching Fallout 76, I saw the way like the sun shines in it, shades the grass and the trees, and you can see the light coming in through the leaves and all that stuff. Like it's beautiful. Like it looks beautiful, but my big issue is that through the demo, just watching them go places, it's a big world, and there's a lot of set pieces, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot inhabiting these set pieces. You have a few zombies, you have the little creatures running around the buses and the houses and all that, but other than that, like it doesn't feel like a Fallout game to me, because where before, like you find one person and you kind of get in these big shootouts that take you probably 4 to 5 minutes to get out of. In this, and I'm hoping that is just because it's still in the beta form, but like in this, it didn't really seem like they have that. And then like you go to your base where your buddies are, and it just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't have that that feel that a Fallout game should. And maybe it's just because I'm not the one playing it. I'm not playing it with my friends, but I don't know. I'm not completely sold on it. I do want to try it, but I would only try it if I had other people playing it.
Yeah, because like I said earlier, I kind of alluded to the fact that yes, you can play as a solo, but the problem is I don't think it's really geared for that. I don't think it's really geared to be a solo adventure much in the way I I so much. I mean, it's not in the same. It's not in the same vein as the previous iterations of the Fallout universe, where they were single player centric, single player focused games with a focused narrative and the big wide open world that you're supposed to go ahead and attack on your own. This one is geared more towards a multiplayer platform. I did get to see the action. It was a lot faster paced than I thought it would be. I thought it would be really slow. It actually was. I was quite surprised as far as the action, the pace, the transformation from one area to another. I was really surprised that the transitions were pretty nice. The actual look itself, still a lot of work in my opinion to do. But then again, Bethesda games don't always look the best comparative to other games. It's the actual narrative that you're in and the structure of the world, and that's what really seems to get everybody to buy into it. The VAT system to allow you to go ahead and access your inventory, it seems to be pretty good. It seems to be, if you're really familiar and in tune on how to use it, you can get in and out of it quickly. For beginners, and I guess people that have not really delved into the Fallout universe that much, they're still going to have a time trying to fumble around with the VAT system, at least right at the get go. But for the most part, if you are experienced with Fallout, you should be able to get into it and be able to start enjoying it rather easily. What I'm worried about is the glitches. And you and I both have talked about at length in regards to Bethesda, their issue with glitches, their issue with, I guess, as far as being an open world, it is almost designed to have a lot of glitches or have glitches down there just because of the sheer because of the sheer vast open world that's out there and the problems, unfortunately, technically that it has. Your thoughts on if you think that Bethesda might have solved some of these problems, and hopefully will translate to a better online multiplayer experience with Fallout 76.
I don't think so because they make such massive games. It's going to be hard to hit every aspect of it. I was actually listening to a podcast and they're talking about how like even developers like Ubisoft who've been doing this for years, they have their Assassin's Creed games and they're very formulaic now. So they have their whole thing laid out. Most of them are made with the same engines. They just keep changing, the different set pieces to do what they want it to do. But they're saying as for Odyssey, like the map looks beautiful. You have all like the beautiful colors. Everything looks real. The wind, like everything is in motion in the game. And then you'll go into like a cave and you'll see like where the pixels are merging together. So I feel like in big open world games, you're not going to have that sense of refinement just because there's so much going on. And if you can get through the game without like experiencing that thing in Batman Arkham Knight where you're falling through the level for 3 hours, like I think you're doing okay there. Uh,
Or when you have like Mass Effect Andromeda, the technical issues that it suffered,
you're
or even
al-
some of the
you're
Elder
always gonna
Scrolls.
have a grudge with that.
Always, you know me, man. I Mass Effect Andromeda, I will always have an issue. I may play it one of these days again and delve into it and give it a full try. So maybe it will actually, I can actually get off my hit list. But I don't know, man. I just that you know, you see, you got me started, man. Don't get me talking Mass Effect
Just
Andromeda. Don't.
we both just agree that Bethesda needs to finally man up and tell us who the lusty Argonian maid is.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be very nice if they did so, but they also need to make sure and provide them the players out there a quality multiplayer game, because this is something they haven't really dealt with before when it comes to the Fallout universe. I'm hoping that they'll be able to, if this game is successful, that they will translate this into the Elder Scrolls series, because that is something I've always wanted to do, is create an experience in the Elder Scrolls world No, and I'm not talking about the MMO that's out there. I know Elder Scrolls Online out there. I'm talking about a true Elder Scrolls game that like Oblivion, Skyrim, you know the ones, Morrowind, that whole 9 yards. Build that type of world, build that type of environment, and have a 2, 3, or 4 multiplayer party get together, just like we've taught, just like if you're playing D&D and just go out in the world and trying, if you let's say this, if you could have done that in Skyrim or in Oblivion, would that have enhanced your gaming experience with both those games? Because I truly love Oblivion to no end.
I would just want to go out and fusarva some droggers, just take care of business.
But
If I
but
could do that with my buddies, then so be it. But as long as I didn't have friendly fire on, because then we'd all really be in trouble.
And as long as nobody was coming up through the floor, like in some of the other games that they've had, like Oblivion and Skyrim, or get stuck in a certain glitch, whatnot. But need I digress? Technical issues aside, that's what I'm worried about when it comes to Fallout 76. I think that's something that I'm going to have to see to believe before I realize if it's going to be a great game or if it's just going to be a good or well thought of game or even less. I'm very hopeful that they will go ahead and fix out whatever issues that they've had in the past and be able to apply that to a new game. Your thoughts on your final thoughts on Fallout 76 overall? Do you think it's going to be a success? It takes a lot from other multiplayer games that we've seen. In fact, same thing for BioWare's Anthem, which is coming up next year. Both those games seem to take a lot from doing raids, from a lot of Destiny and other multiplayer centric games where it looks like it's going to be there's some fun, but like you were talking about, it's going to be some gaps when it comes to the world itself.
Well, think about it too. Like when most games go gold, when they're done, they're done with development and they're sending them off to be printed and to ship to stores. There used to be a time when you were getting a complete experience, but these days you don't get it. And I guarantee you that Fallout's going to have some big day one patch. It'll probably be close to 30 gigabytes if I had to guess. But it's gonna be one of those games where they keep fixing it as it goes along because you don't really get a complete experience anymore because a lot of developers, they have deadlines and they don't know, like, what bugs are gonna be in the game until the players find them. So I think they're gonna be fixing a lot of stuff as they go, but eventually I think that Fallout 76 with enough, feedback, it could end up if it's not good at launch, maybe like a year from now, it could end up being a really great game that stands tall in their, their catalog of big, massive, multiplayer games.
If it's not a success and it does suffer from Mass Effect Andromeda syndrome, I'll tell you that. Let's call it that. What do you think it might do for the Fallout franchise going forward?
They'll have to face the music. You see what I did there? Mass Effect faces? That was, yeah, that's funny. You'll laugh about it later.
I'm not the only one who has issues.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was the question? I was caught up on the pun.
There you go. What do you think if it turns out to be bad? Would it hamper going forward the Fallout universe, similar to what Mass Effect Andromeda has done for Mass Effect?
I don't think so because there's still a lot of love for the Fallout series, and I they'll probably not make another one for a bit. They'll probably focus on Elder Scrolls, which praise the Lord they need to do. But I don't think it would hamper it anything. It was an experiment, and Bethesda's got like they have the goodwill of their fans, and they're actually like you listen to Todd Howard at these E3 conferences and all the other the game conferences that he goes to, like, he sounds like a good dude, like, they take the feedback from their fans and they take it seriously, so if they mess up, I don't think that, people are gonna be going to Bethesda's, headquarters with pitchforks and fire. I think it's just gonna they'll yeah, "Let's burn the windmill down." No, they'll give him another chance. It's I don't think this is an experiment, it's gonna be an expensive experiment, but, I don't think if it fails, it's really gonna mean, death and destruction for Bethesda. It's just probably gonna chalk it up to a learning experience and then move on to something else. Kinda like Brink.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a very short-lived multiplayer experience, if there ever was one. But you're right. This is a new foray. This is I guess, like you said, it's a new foray for them in the whole Fallout universe as far as from a multiplayer standpoint. I'm still looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's everything that it could be for Fallout fans. I hope they go ahead and embrace it. I hope it does come out with a minimum of issues going forward, and technical issues aside, that people will treat it as the game that they love, and will actually look upon it as a favorable installment of the franchise, and not something they just want to get just out of their sight, like Mass Effect Andromeda, Assassin's Creed Unity, or any of the other games that have almost come close to or ruined series way back when to modern times. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Fallout 76 can actually meet those goals and meet the demands of the players out there. It all starts with the beta. So you want to, if you're an Xbox One owner, you get an opportunity to find out if you can go ahead and play the beta. It's going to be available on October 23rd for Xbox One owners, and a week later, it's coming to PS4 and the PC. So check that out. Hopefully, you'll get the opportunity to do so. And if you have any thoughts on it, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also, as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can let us know what your thoughts are on the beta, and then also the game itself, because it's coming right around the corner on November 14th. It's going to be here right before Black Friday, so definitely thinking about Fallout 76, and if it's successful, if it will be one of the big holiday sellers, one of the big sellers this holiday.
Hey, real quick, you know where I do want to go with pitchforks and fire? The Gearbox headquarters, because
really? Pray tell, why, my friend?
Randy Pitchford is he's a butt, all right? Because I don't want to say the other word on air, but Randy Pitchford, we're all asking for Borderlands 3, and he says, "Oh, hey, surprise, we're making another version of Borderlands 2, but in VR." Nobody wanted that. That's why am I going to play a lesser version of Borderlands 2 when I'm waiting patiently for Borderlands 3? It doesn't make sense to me. It's like Bethesda constantly re-releasing Skyrim. I just don't need it anymore. I'm ready for something new.
I am ready for something new in the realm of Borderlands as well, but it is like Bethesda. They are taking steps and taking lessons from Bethesda, who releases Skyrim and a lot of their other properties on virtually every other platform they can. I think it's smart. But you're right. Borderlands 3 hopefully will come maybe as soon as being announced in E3. Maybe it'll be a 2019 release. Who knows? But you're right. Borderlands 2 VR is something I don't think a lot of people are looking forward to, and I'm hoping that I just hope, like I said, Borderlands 3, which I know you've been really looking forward to, will be a reality sometime in the near future. We've already beaten to death my thoughts on virtual reality. I don't think at this point in time it's a successful marketplace. I don't think they've sold enough units. The PSVR, the Oculus, and everything else. I don't think all those units combined can even hold a candle to anywhere near what the Switch, what the PS4, and what the Xbox One has done. I don't think gamers are ready to go ahead and slap on the glasses in a large amount. So at this point, I still think virtual reality is a long ways away from being successful. So kind of find it hard to understand why Borderlands 2 is coming out in VR. But like I said, I'm hopeful that a Borderlands 3 is coming right around the future.
Yeah, same. Actually, that's all I really had to say. Same.
Any last thoughts on the way out, my friend? Because it's been another great episode. Yeah. Also, First Man's coming out this weekend. How do you think it's going to fare? Ryan Gosling, star of one of our favorite movie of last year, Blade Runner 2049, which we cannot stop talking about, which we think you should go see on Blu-ray today. Your thoughts?
Show, right?
What?
Wasn't that you assuming that article? They're making a TV show of Blade Runner.
Yeah, I heard that. I'm sure that'll work out really well, but you never know. But your thoughts on First Man. Do you think it'll go ahead and provide enough impetus for, I guess, Ryan Gosling to go ahead and maybe get some get some recognition for maybe some Oscar awards, or for the movie to maybe in its first week do surpass what Venom and A Star is Born is going to do? Because I think it's going to be hard. I think in its second week, Venom, even though it's going to have a big drop, it might still lead the pack this weekend. And if not, I think A Star is Born is the favorite to go ahead and surpass it, and not First Man.
I think First Man's going to be out of this world, Gerald.
Oh, man.
Do you see what I did there?
You have just been the master of puns today. Yes, but your final thoughts on First Man?
I would like to see it. It's funny because anytime like a new space movie comes out, you always get the flat earthers come out, and they're like, whether or not they have scientific proof that it was done in a Hollywood, if Red Hot Chili Peppers are right and it's done in a Hollywood basement, who cares? Why you gotta ruin the magic for the rest of us? They're like the people who go to Disneyland and can't like enjoy being there because they're like, oh, Catella's right outside. So I don't know, man. I hope it's good. There hasn't been a good space movie in a long time. Well, The Martian, I guess, but I remember being a kid and going to see Apollo 13, and like I'm hoping that when I watch First Man, like that'll bring that feeling back, where you're in space and it's intense and something, it's exciting, and it just makes you, makes your imagination go.
And the space race will be back in your, back at the forefront once again, and all that good stuff that was so much a part of what was going on at that period of time. I'm looking forward to it as well. I think it's another vehicle for Ryan Gosling to try and garner more nominations, but is it good enough, or is it going to be good enough to propel him and the movie to success? I think we're going to start to see the residuals of that this weekend at the box office. What are your thoughts out there on First Man, and also anything that we've talked about as far as Fallout 76 and so much more? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And yes, will First Man, will it rocket? You know what? You're the pun man. You say it.
You mean, will it rocket him to success?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. Okay. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day. And thank you so much for the people who are watching the show today. We truly appreciate it. And always check us out on YouTube to see the uncut versions of our PCC Multiverse and our Pop Culture Cosmos.